This dynamic duo is the authority on taking the overwhelm out of leading a healthy lifestyle. Champion you to build a foundation for health, happiness, and success. They are leading a revolution on physical, nutritional, and emotional empowerment, helping you find a balance between work, family, and self. They strive to maximize your personal success, overcome your challenges, transform your body, increase your energy, attain your goals, and focus on overall wellness so you can feel consistently better about yourself and can perform better in all aspects of your life. Let's take the overwhelm out and achieve balance through physical, nutritional, and emotional awareness. Introducing renowned health strategists, life trainers, global speakers, authors, coaches, entrepreneurs, motivators, the one and only powerhouse couple, Craig and Jenny D.
Right, we're getting the guys on live in Pennsylvania this afternoon.
Good morning.
Morning. Don't you love it when you press the wrong buttons?
I was like, what in the world's going on? And we're like, oh no, did Cupid shoot you or something?
Oh, I can't see. That's what it was.
Happy Valentine's Day,
And to
everybody.
you as well, you loved up couple of perfectness. How are you?
We're doing well. How are you on this beautiful morning or afternoon over there?
Yeah, well, it's after, well, it's 12:10 at the afternoon now.
Well, you know, it's hard for me to keep up with all the time zones.
Yeah.
I know. It's horrible, isn't it?
So are you having a good Valentine's Day?
Yes, I'm having a lovely Valentine's Day. I've had my breakfast brought for me. I've had my cup of tea brought for me. I can't think what else I'm going to get, so...
Well, that's awesome.
Well, we can just imagine, but there you go.
Yes.
We'll save that for off-air, David.
Yeah,
No.
after the watershed, we'll bear with that one.
Well,
God.
we are so excited this morning. I walked into our studio and Craig had my Valentine's card here for me on the table and everything. So it's been a good morning so far over here.
You perfect piece of love on legs.
Well, we are going to talk some love today for all of you listeners out there. We have an exciting show for you this morning. We are bringing on a special guest to talk to us about love, and we are just so excited to have her. I got to tell you, I met this woman back in Maryland, down in Baltimore, last year, and I was just so impressed what she had to say because the way that she frames helping couples with their relationships is like nothing that I've ever heard before. And I was just blown away when I met her. And when we were thinking of doing this show this morning, I was like, oh my gosh, we just have to get Dr. Stephanie on the line. So let me give you guys some background here on Dr. Stephanie, and then let's get her on the line, David.
Right.
So Dr. Stephanie Knarr is an international relationship and mindset coach, and she is based in the Baltimore, D.C. area. She's spoken to thousands of people about the steps to effectively repair their relationship complaints. And so her passion is to inspire people with the concept of bringing a business customer service desk into all of your relationships. So her motto is, do you have a customer service counter for your significant other? She has been featured as an expert in Forbes, Time, MSN, and on television news channels and radio shows all over the world. She's an author of The Relationship Repair for Couples, which is a book that was inspired by her marriage to her husband, Brandon Knarr. And she has actually copyrighted the concept of having a relationship repair counter, not only in your marriage, but in your workplace and in family relationships. So, ladies and gentlemen, you are just going to have a ball this morning with Dr. Stephanie. So please welcome her to our... Ow!
Wow. Right, we're just getting hold of Stephanie now.
Yep, get Stephanie on the line for us, Sir David. We are so excited.
Yep. And I will tell you, whenever it comes to relationships, why we're talking about love and relationships today, besides it being Valentine's Day, is that it's part of that mindset. It's part of making sure that you are as healthy as you can be in so many different ways. And having a great, healthy relationship is phenomenal for your health and your well-being. So it's so important. That's why we're talking about it. I'm glad that we actually have a day that we can really focus on it. I know we talked about New Year's and talking about resolutions, and it seems like Valentine's Day is like that one day to have this resolution with your significant other. But, what you should really think about is, really doing it all the time, not just on Valentine's Day.
You know when to say, you know when to say,
there?
I was going to say, you know when to say all the right things, don't you? Just when your beloved sat next to you there.
I got to give him credit. I'll tell you what, Craig and I have an amazing marriage, and it's not something that came easy. We've talked with Dr. Stephanie about this the day we met her, and it takes a lot of work.
Wow. I think we've got her on the line now. Morning, Stephanie.
Hi, yeah, good morning, everyone. How are you?
Good morning. How are you doing?
Dr. Stephanie.
Hi. Great to hear your voice again, Jenny and Craig, and just so happy to be here and celebrate this day with you.
Well, thank you. How's your Valentine's Day going so far?
Oh, well,
it's
had
early,
an early
right?
start here, and I guess it's like a lot of things in our family. I don't know if you all feel the same way, but it seems like birthdays and Christmas and things like that, they go on for like a week.
Yes, absolutely.
So my Valentine's kind of started this weekend. My husband took me out for dinner, and he's traveling this week. So he did his due diligence before he left.
Oh, bless him. Did he really?
Yeah. He brought in the chocolate and the jewelry and all that good stuff, and we had a really nice time this weekend. So
that's wonderful.
Yeah.
Awesome.
How about you two?
Oh, we are, just getting up and running here like you this morning, being up in Philadelphia. And but I came into the radio studio this morning with a nice card from Craig here on the desk. I haven't had a chance to open it, but hey, we'll get to that after the show, right?
I've just thought of an idea,
awesome.
actually. I've just thought of an idea to kill two birds with one stone, to get Easter and Valentine's Day out the way. You just get a big chocolate heart for each other, and that's it. Don't worry about getting for both.
Hey, David, no chocolate hearts or bunnies for you. You are on this new Up-Level Your Resolution program with us. No chocolate, my friend.
You want to see how svelte I am looking now? I'm telling you, I only take up half the chair now. I'm sat in.
I love it. Well, Stephanie, you've got to tell us. I'm curious, because I cannot imagine your husband being married to a marriage therapist counselor. What is that like for him on a daily basis?
It's funny, people ask him that a lot, especially when they first meet us and people find out what my job is. And he always just kind of jokes around about it. And, of course, we all know I set him straight, make him walk the line. But, humor aside, he will often just say, it's actually pretty cool because I do listen to him, and we're able to really work things out. So, early in our marriage, though, we, just like you and Craig were kind of discussing earlier on the show, you had to learn how to work together, and that it is a lot of work, and you do have to work on it on a daily basis. So I definitely agree with that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So, of course, being the female in the relationship, I am usually the one that brings up the complaints. And I don't know if you guys know this.
No.
I know. When I'm teaching classes on this, people think it's hilarious when I tell them that research has validated that females bring up more of the concerns in relationships. And it's just like, we didn't need research to validate that, right? So
all they had to do was know you and I, Stephanie.
I know, exactly. So, and most women, we just tend to want to talk about the relationships and bring stuff up, and the guys are like, no more relationship talks. in some cases. But
And it's not, right, it's not that they don't recognize that there are issues. They just don't bring them up. They just sweep them under the carpet. Is that correct?
well, yeah, they do. And what I always say is, guys don't really tune into the relationship channel as much until we take them there. But yeah, once we're there, they'll definitely turn on the channel and join us. But females do bring that stuff up. And just a quick story: when my husband and I were first married, we were going through some stressors, and he would be traveling, and actually we had a special needs child and a baby that was really had a lot of challenges. And so my husband would come home from traveling, and I'd just be like flipping out because I'd be so stressed out, and I'm a type A personality. so that would happen, and I would really start complaining and not really yelling
Unload
at
on
him.
him.
Just kind of stressing out, and he would get really defensive, and that was one of the times that we would argue. And so one of the things that I learned early on that I teach my couples in couples therapy, and I kind of learned this from watching them as well, is to really just kind of change my approach. So I always come to him now and share with him instead, say, hey, babe, is now a good time to talk? And, is this, can you listen to me now? And I always joke around too, is the relationship repair counter open? Because that's our little metaphor that we use. I'll ask him if he's able to really kind of hear me out and respond to my complaints. And so after a couple of bad fights, I just started doing that, and it really made a difference. He's in business, so we've kind of started really implementing this metaphor of having a customer service counter for your relationship. So instead of kind of getting defensive and us things turning into a fight, he just started using that metaphor and really listening to me and asking me what he could do. And that just really changed our relationship around.
So why do you think that works so well? And why did you use that metaphor with couples? Whenever you're coaching?
Well, we were really responding to what I had learned in my schooling and in my training, that within the marriage research, and people often don't realize this, but the number one predictor for marital success and happiness and keeping passion and intimacy in your relationship is actually complaint resolution. So
Really?
Crazy. Yeah, it's the number one, predictor. So Dr. Gottman in his Love Laboratory out in Washington State, he actually studied over 1,000 couples longitudinally over time, and he followed them, and he would bring them into his lab and watch them communicate, and he coded all kinds of different ways that they talked about not only good stuff, but also their problems. And from that, he was able to predict what made couples stay happy. And that the number one predictor was really how women bring up complaints, and then how husbands respond to them, and whether or not they're influenced by their wives' concerns.
Wow, that's interesting.
Yeah. And
so it's almost kind of how they fight, right? It's
yeah,
it's do you fight nice or do you fight mean?
Exactly. And well, I've been very entrepreneurial my whole life, and I'm from a business-oriented family. And so when I learned that research, I was wow, this is amazing, because, the same is actually true in business, right? The businesses that provide really great customer service usually have much higher levels of success, and their profits are a lot higher.
That's right.
In really any industry.
Yeah, no business can be perfect all the time. There will always be problems that arise, but it's how they deal with those problems that determine their success over the long run.
Exactly. And so in marriage, it's really the same way. And it's having a, customer service counter doesn't sound sexy. It's really not that fun, romantic, passionate. It's not the fun part of our relationship. And yet that's the one thing that people have to do and in order to keep their marriage happy. So I just think it's really fascinating. And I love to teach people this concept. And once they get it, it really works. And believe it or not, it's the one thing that when people come to see me, they're usually struggling with.
Yeah, wow. Well, Stephanie, I'm going to ask you to hold tight right there. We're going to take our first music break here. And just for Valentine's Day, we are going to bring on James Blunt and You're Beautiful.
Oh, gorgeous song. Right, we're back with the guys this morning, or this afternoon even.
All right, you pressed the right button. That's good.
I did. I pressed. It's a good job I don't fly planes, I'm telling you. Imagine the
David,
chaos.
I'm never flying again if you start flying planes, I got to tell you. You know why? I just know that you would have so much fun up there in the cockpit that we would never get anything. It would be really scary.
Well, I tell you what, I had. I'm just going off on a tangent here, but one day I was on a flight once and I was dying to get, the phone that the stewardess is talking to. I was dying to get. I was dying to get hold of it and start making all stupid sound effects on it.
I bet those flight attendants just love you.
Oh God, there was one that was Campus Christmas, bless him. I was flying to Mauritius, and I said to him, "Can I use the phone? Can I go on that phone and do something?" He said, "No, there's no way you're going on that. I'm telling you now, the pilot lit the roof." Oh bless. Anyway,
you're like, I'm getting on that phone whether you let me or not.
Exactly. Yeah. No, it was. I was there. I thought, imagine the chaos that you could cause by saying, fooling about on there. There was a video once a few weeks ago of a guy getting everybody singing and clapping on it, wasn't he? That he did a rap or something. I think he did Rapper's Delight on it. He got up and the stewardess gave him the phone and he did Rapper's Delight.
Wow, really?
Yeah.
I'll have to search that one up on YouTube.
Yeah,
That'll be entertaining.
It's on there. Yeah. Crazy, but I thought, I'd love to do something just to fool about, just to say, you think you've actually took off, you've not yet, so you can get up and walk round, just something like that.
Exactly. Wow.
Anyway.
Well, it's so funny, while we were on music break here, we were talking with Dr. Stephanie behind the scenes, and we were kind of having a good laugh about it because so many people in their relationships think of, after they have a fight, having makeup sex or something like that. And, we were just kind of laughing because Craig and I, we talk about it and laugh is that we really don't have makeup sex. And so the reason is because we really don't fight.
Can we fight a little bit?
I know, hold on a minute. Can we start an argument first?
You got to take us there. So let's talk about this for a minute. What's the anecdote to relationship conflict? How should we really be looking at this whole thing?
Yeah, definitely. Well, I think you guys are doing it the right way because obviously those fights and the conflict isn't so great. So definitely better to have just passionate sex without the makeup sex or the fighting, in my opinion. So it seems like you guys are definitely on the right track. I think, that actually there's nothing in my mind that's kind of more romantic or more sexy than really just being there for your partner when they do have a concern, when they want to talk about a problem. And instead of being defensive, just opening up that counter, saying, how can I help you? How can I comfort you? How can I be there for you? Or if you've made a mistake, saying, how can I make this up to you or fix this? And it's just something that's so painful, though, for couples, because I find so often that when people bring up concerns in their relationship, that's not the response they get, And even like in the workplace or just with friends, just when you bring up a concern to someone, you're like, wow, this really bothered me. When someone just says, wow, like, you're so important to me. I feel terrible that happened and that I did that to you. And how can I make that better? Don't you just about fall off your chair? Like, you're like, wow, that's a really great response that we don't often get in our relationships.
Yeah, because so many times what happens, right, is that people make it about them. So if Craig were to come to me with a complaint and say, this is going on and it's upsetting me and I'm offended or I'm hurt or whatever the case is, the instinct that so many people have is to turn around and make it about me and say, well, you did this, and we completely flip it. And that's one of those things that really is such a struggle because then the other person never really feels heard, right?
Yeah, they don't feel heard. I call that jumping over the relationship repair counter. And now, if you think about it visually, now both people are in front of the counter and no one's behind the counter servicing the complaint.
That would be really bad if I went into the store and that happened.
It would be, it would be really bad, and you'd be really angry. And the thing is in relationships, people get really angry often too, and then the fight escalates. That's really where the fight escalates or the problem escalates. Because now not only do I have, does someone have, like in your case that you were just describing, would Craig feel like he had this concern that he's upset about or is a problem for him? but now he's also upset about how you reacted to the problem, right?
Right.
So it's like a double whammy kind of thing. Yeah. Yeah, you guys have it spot on there. So
Yeah, it's so true. And what I find is that a lot of times it takes working on ourselves to get past that, right? Because we always want to say the relationship isn't working because of the other person, right? That's the natural instinct. Well, they're a bad husband or they're a bad wife or they did this or they did that. But
Exactly.
at the end of the day, so much of it is working on ourselves to realize who we really are. And that, and I'd like to get your opinion on this, is that we actually are responsible for our own happiness in the marriage. And so, there is no human being on the face of the planet that can keep us happy forever, right? Meaning that when we first fall in love and we go on our first couple dates and we are just so enamored with this person that we believe that they're the ones keeping us happy. But to put that responsibility on another human being to say, okay, now we're going to get married, and so now it's your responsibility to keep me happy for the rest of my life, that is a huge responsibility that really nobody would ever be able to fulfill. So if we're expecting that to happen, we're almost setting ourselves up for failure right from the beginning. So it's really about working, in my belief, about working on yourself to know that you have to keep yourself happy, and then the other person really is just kind of the icing on the cake.
I 100% agree. And, along with that, I think when we focus actually more on not only our own happiness, but kind of balancing out our happiness with our partner's happiness, that's the essential key too, because I find that some people get so focused in on me, and they forget that when they, started dating and when they were in the early stages of that relationship, they usually were also really going out of their way to attract that partner and to show them love and, to show them that value and importance. And so it's definitely focusing on oneself and recognizing that you have to take care of yourself and make yourself happy, but also not losing sight of keeping your partner happy as well. Focusing more on servicing them and making sure they're in a good spot.
Yeah, I mean, it's like one time I heard this and I thought it was very interesting, and that is somebody said, marriage, you should think of it almost as like a 1-year contract. Because if you, just like in business, if you actually had a 1-year contract in business, you would do everything possible to make sure that you wanted to renew that contract every single year.
Yes, I love that. And I agree 100%. It should just be like an ongoing contract. Well, I think the idea of the renewal is great because it does keep people motivated. And in reality, that is really what's happening in today's relationships. This is not how we are today in 2018 is not how it was 3 or 4 generations ago. So people really are not staying in their relationships if that contract renewal is not going on and if they're not continuing to have their needs met a lot of times.
I think if you had a monthly bonus thrown in, there's more chance of it happening.
A monthly bonus. I love it, David. I love it. Great. I don't know about this, though, David. Craig keeps telling me it should be a weekly bonus.
Well, yeah, very much. Well, daily I'm on about, but you never know, do you?
It's only daily, early on in the relationship or, on a vacation.
Exactly, yeah. And a smile's a bonus in some relationships. Never mind anything else. When you see some married couples,
this is going downhill
seriously,
fast.
I know, but though you see when you see some married couples when you're out and about somewhere and you go out for a meal, some of them they sat at tables, they don't even speak, they won't even look at one another. Never mind have a conversation.
Yeah. Yeah, they're on their phone all the time.
Yeah, I mean, we were at dinner probably a couple of weeks ago at a restaurant, and there was this couple that I could see that Jenny couldn't see, and they were just like looking at their food, eating, and it was like we don't have time to cook at home, so we're just going to go out and eat, and we just going to not do anything. I mean, that was it. It was pathetic.
So sad.
And then the conversations about the bill at the end of it. Are you paying or me? You know, that's all all the time that they've been sat there for about an hour. I'll never forget going for a Chinese, and I was looking at this couple. It was at lunchtime, and I was with a couple of other guys that I work with, and they were sat there, and they were married. They were obviously married, but they were just they never looked at one another or spoke to one another. And it wasn't until the bill came and they said something to each other, got up, paid, and walked out. And I thought, what a marriage is that? Crazy.
That is so weird, isn't it? Wow. Yeah. So, and that's something important we're talking about, not only communicating when you are out with each other, but real quick, before we go to our next music break, Stephanie, I wanted to ask you about the importance of actually taking that time out to spend some time together as a couple. Because, for example, last night, our daughter, she has CCD, which is church school on Wednesday evenings. And so she was asking us, it's Ash Wednesday, of course. So she said, well, are you going to come to church with me for Ash Wednesday tonight during my CCD class? And we said, no, that's your class time. You're going to go with your class. Mommy and Daddy are going to go out to dinner while you're there. And she couldn't understand why that was important. And so we were explaining to her, well, it's so important that Mommy and Daddy, once a week, we do this every Wednesday while she's in class, we go out and spend that hour and a half together as a couple to make sure that we're spending that time each week. And how important do you think that is to make sure couples are taking that time regardless of the kids and the schedules?
Yeah. Oh my gosh. It's like a key priority is to have that time to reconnect. And even couples that have like young children, I'll often say, even if you can't get the babysitter, have an at-home date night. I'm just shocked at how many people don't just sort of turn off their TV, turn off their phone, maybe light a candle or put a fire in the fireplace and just really look at each other, and talk and reconnect and hopefully get some time in the bedroom. So it's absolutely so important to have that quality time, whether you're going out for a date or spending time at home.
Yeah, because it's so hard to connect when we've got all these electronic devices. We're connected with that, but not with the person sitting right next to us.
Yep.
Yeah. And that is the key. That is the key thing that I hear so often with not only obviously my customers, but also just friends and family. Just, realize that so many people in the evenings when they could be talking to their spouse after the kids are in bed, they're on Facebook, they're video gaming, they're, watching television.
Yeah.
10 options now. So
I got an offer. I was going to say I got an offer for bedroom time one day, many moons ago, and it turned out, I thought, oh, we're in here, and it turned out she wanted the curtain pole putting up in the bedroom. and that was it. She said, would you like to come in the bedroom? I thought, I'm in. So I ran in there. She said, now, have you seen the state of that curtain pole there? It needs sorting out. So I thought, no.
you didn't realize the tools that you needed to bring with you.
Exactly, yeah. I only had one tool, and it wasn't for putting up a curtain pole, I'm telling you now.
I love it. I love it.
Yeah. Well, on that note, we're going to go to the next song by Enrique Iglesias and Hero.
David was the hero that night.
We're back live with the guys this morning.
Good morning.
How are you doing?
Well, let's see. All right, so we're back with Dr. Stephanie Knarr, and we're talking about, we just ended with talking about tools that David brought up, but we're not, sorry.
Valentine's Day tools.
Yeah.
The love tool. Everyone should have one of them in the box, I'm telling you.
That's for this evening's show.
Yeah, after 9 o'clock, I've got to calm down. I'm going to open the fridge and stand in front of the fridge after the show for half an hour and cool myself down.
Just go take that cold shower, David.
Yeah,
it's all
exactly.
Good.
Exactly. Put the loofah away.
Yeah. So Stephanie, let me ask you a question. So, I'm sure you could probably work with almost everybody out there, but who do you really work with? What couples really benefit from, your coaching?
So, yeah, I think that's a great question, Craig. And I work with a lot of couples, obviously, who are in crisis, and they come to me because, they haven't had their repair counters open and really struggling in their marriage, and they are reaching out to me when they want me to save their marriage, essentially, and we really have to do a lot of intervention. So that's definitely kind of one portion of my customer base, but I also really believe everyone can benefit from the stuff I'm teaching. So I also have people who reach out to me who just feel like, hey, our relationship's pretty good, it's average, but we're not that satisfied. Like, we'd like to take it to the next level, and we feel like we've kind of gotten into a rut, kind of living like roommates now. And that's also like a big part of my customer base as well. Really just anyone who's kind of lost that love in their life and don't feel like they have enough intimacy. I love to just help them get back on track, not only with that communication, but just also finding the time for each other, like you guys were talking about, and making that time.
Yeah. Hey, Stephanie, you're breaking up a little bit for some reason. Your sound, just so you know, we're having a little trouble hearing you.
Okay.
That's
that
better. I
sounds
think
better.
there we go. That's
Yep.
better. Okay.
Yeah.
Good.
So the last thing I heard you say was about really how important it is to take that time and try to really, get the help that you need before you get to that crisis mode.
Oh my gosh, I can't overstate that. That it's so much better when people come to me before their partner has already had an affair or is walking out the door, threatening divorce. It's just so much easier if you kind of do that preventive work. And that's like, something you teach within wellness and health too, right? Is like,
right.
You want to take care of your body each and every day, each and every week, and always be, nurturing your body and having that self-care. And the same is really true in your relationships. If you neglect them and you don't repair problems along the way, then you're going to hit that crisis point at sometime in your life.
One of the things we always tell our clients is you want to try to not have to become a survivor, right? So with your health and wellness, you don't wait until the doctor has diagnosed you with something to make changes, right? Because that's when that wake-up call happens, and finally your why becomes very clear, like, oh my goodness, I almost just died of a heart attack. I think I better take care of myself. Let's really address it beforehand. It's not painful to take care of ourselves. We talk about there are two pains in life. There's the pain of discipline and the pain of regret, right?
Yeah.
So if you wait until too late, then it's that pain of regret that you have to deal with. But so many people have trouble facing the pain of discipline. And every decision we make in our life is really that. We're either deciding to have the pain of discipline, which is immediate, or we're gambling on when that pain of regret is going to come into play in our life. And that's true whether we're talking about dealing with our health and wellness or whether we're dealing with our relationships. Do you want the pain of discipline right now to do the right thing, take care of your body, take care of your mind, take care of your relationships, or are you going to roll the dice and wait and see how long it takes for that pain of regret to come back and bite you in the rear end because you didn't do the right thing now? And I think it's so hard for people to sometimes accept that immediate pain of discipline when they can push it off and go, well, I don't know how long it might take until the pain of regret comes around, so I'm just going to wait it out.
Yeah. No, absolutely. And it's something where I see this every day with couples that have gotten to a more of a crisis point where someone has really taken a gamble. I mean, I don't think people really realize that's what they're doing, honestly, because we have these role models in some cases in generations above us of people who are married who really didn't take care of their relationship and they still stayed married. They kind of that was sort of the old, I guess, generational model of marriage. And now it's like completely turned around. And in most cases, people really are gambling. If you're just, people are dismissing their partner's complaints and not fixing problems along the way, it's just a matter of time. Just like you're saying, with all the toxins that's in our food and in our substances that we put on our bodies and things like that, it's just a matter of time if you keep using all that stuff, and you're not eating healthy before you're going to have some kind of health problem.
Like, when I think about it, as we're talking about this, I mean, we go from this, it seems like we go from this one extreme of, all this, lovey-dovey, this wonderful, dating and all this good stuff for a period of time during the courting, even at the, beginning of the marriage. And then all of a sudden, it's the lull, like in between. And then at some point in time, there's this then fighting or there's this turmoil. And it's that in-betweenness that we can't pick up on, that there's some change. What are some of your suggestions maybe to make sure that you don't fall into that lull, and so you can continue to keep it going?
So I definitely think that the main thing is to, put that time aside and to still court one another. So many people stop courting after marriage, and I think that's the end of the stuff. Main thing is keeping the romance alive. And when you're not doing that, your partner will complain and they will tell you. So happens, you have two choices. You can either walk down the path of or you can say, oh, this is an opportunity for me to recognize that my partner's not happy and turn something that doesn't feel too great with that complaint into an opportunity to build trust and to really show them that you love them and make them happy. So that's the main thing. When people get service in business, they fall more in love with that thing. 10 times more loyal to that thing. That's love and passion going, in my opinion.
Okay. Well, there you go. Well, that's awesome, and it's you're breaking up a little bit on your end, but we're gonna as we continue on. I love the message that you're telling, and I guess the one of the final things I want to ask is, what is your Valentine's Day message to everyone out there that is looking for that Cupid to shoot them with that wonderful arrow and things like that? What's that one message?
I think the one message that's so important is that you try to do that one thing that is so important to your partner. A lot of people keep making the mistake of giving their partner something for Valentine's Day that they want to give them, as opposed to really thinking, what does my partner want? What does my partner need? And really thinking about, what has your partner told you in the last year? What has she or he said to you that you're missing, that you're not getting and giving them in the relationship, and giving them the thing that they're complaining about, that you're not doing, is really the thing that's going to make them the most happy.
And it's so funny, Steph, because isn't it true also that we tend to give in the way that we want to be loved versus acknowledging how the other person recognizes love? And I know this is something that, Craig and I worked through in the beginning of our relationship, because our love languages, for those of you that haven't read the book, it's a wonderful book, are completely different. And so we really have to be cautious about giving to that other person in the way that they want to receive love and the way that it's going to resonate with them. Otherwise, if I'm giving to Craig in the way that I want to be loved, he feels completely unloved, and vice versa.
Yeah, it's so true. And that's where we have to really tune in and listen to our partners and what they're telling us, because they usually will let us know when we're not meeting their needs.
Yeah, exactly. Sure. In one way or another, whether they voice the concern or whether they just ignore us or whether they shut down and start, going out with other people all the time and doing other things and avoiding us, they're generally going to let us know.
And isn't it weird? It's like we continue to give them, our partners, like hints all the time instead of just coming out and spitting, hey, this is what's wrong. And, we continue to hint for I don't know how long.
Yeah. I definitely think that is the case in some relationships. Sort of, some people are not as direct, and so they're not going to necessarily come out with it. So sometimes we do have to read between the lines. Sure.
But you know what? We certainly wouldn't do that when we went to that customer service counter, and that's why I just love your analogy, Steph. With that of the relationship repair counter, because I wouldn't walk into the department store and just hint around at what was bothering me.
I think that you just raised an excellent point, and I encourage the direct complaints. There's definitely a way to bring up concerns, and that's something we didn't talk quite as much about today. But the research is also showing that how you bring up complaints is absolutely essential to your relationship as well. And so that's something that I coach people on in my online classes and in the one-on-one coaching. So There's
Great.
definitely a way to do that. And the more direct you are, the better, because you're more likely to get what you want. And I encourage people to just go right out and ask for the resolution that you want, or ask for that thing that is going to make you feel better in your relationship.
Yep, absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, Stephanie, Dr. Stephanie, thank you so much.
Thank you so much
for
for playing.
being with us this morning. It
Yeah.
has been such a pleasure. I know that our listeners have gotten so much out of it. And for everybody listening out there, you can go to the Craig and Jenny D Facebook page. I will put all of Stephanie's contact information on there so that you can reach out to her. And you do not need to be here in the United States to talk to her. She does virtual coaching as well as face-to-face. So we'll make sure that we put it all out there so anybody that wants to can get in contact with her to build their relationship repair counter. So we thank you all for joining us this morning. We are going right now to the Stylistics, Stone in Love with You, and everybody have an amazing Valentine's Day.
Exactly. And I've just thought of a brilliant present that will save your marriage.
All right.
A remote control. So both of you have got one for the TV. How's that?
That's just going to create another fight, David.
No, it works wonders. Trust me. See you next week, guys.